Bridgerton pumpkins. If you're new here because you either decided to check out this video or maybe you subscribed over one of my last couple of videos, I just really appreciate you being here. My name is Aaliyah, and on this channel we do all sorts of seasonal themed content, but especially Halloween, fall are my favorite seasons. And honestly, I had a lot more spring, summer videos planned, but then the stores started dropping Halloween decor early, and now I am just in full fall Halloween mode. Like, my brain has just switched to Halloween. So I will probably still do some summery content. I have at least one more Bridgerton video that I have to do because honestly I have a pile of stuff here that's like for a haul. But I haven't finished any of the other books for that yet. Just the second one, so I need to read more books. But anyway, there will be a little more summer, spring themed content, but I think this year there's gonna be a lot more fall Halloween content a lot earlier than normal, so if that's your thing, please hang around. Welcome back to the house beyond the hedge. Okay, so if you couldn't tell, I have been sick basically this whole week, so I apologize for sounding sick. I can hear it. I can hear my own voice sounding so sick right now, but I'm on the mend. I have my tea, and this video is going to be halfway to Halloween recommendations because we are still in May. We're still in that halfway to Halloween time, and I was inspired by a creator called Happy Haunts Library on YouTube. I will link their channel down below. And this isn't a true tag in the sense that, you know, there's specific set questions or set categories or anything, but I really enjoyed their video that, once again, I will link down below. And I wanted to do something similar. I wanted to give you my recommendations for the halfway to Halloween time. I know we're getting towards the end of May, but it's never too late to utilize any of these recommendations. So all of these things are going to be things that will help you keep that spooky Halloween feeling alive. It's a little easier this year because, like I said, they're dropping Halloween decor earlier in stores, but if you want other ways to bring the spooky Halloween season into your life this time of year, then hopefully some of these things will help you out with that. Since I'm drinking my tea, we will start with food and drink. Each category is only going to be a couple of things. I'm trying to keep it not too crazy because honestly I could have so many recommendations for a lot of these categories, and especially for tea, don't get me started. I could do a whole video on that. I mean, I have done many tea recommendation videos, so but since I'm drinking my tea right now and I'm actually drinking the tea that I'm going to recommend to you, so we're gonna start with that. So let me put this down. Okay, so my one tea recommendation for this video is going to be Wild Coast. And this is actually a tea place that is local to my state. They are located in Oregon, which I love that. I'm going to try and include some smaller businesses in here. There are a couple chain things, but I am including a lot of small business items as well, so you can help support small businesses and not just shop the bigger box stores. These are a very local to me tea place. I really, really love their packaging and their tea. So the reason that I'm recommending it for halfway to Halloween is that their packaging is all based on archetypes, kind of like tarot, but it's not exactly the same as tarot. And all the archetypes are represented by animals, and some of them are very good spooky animals. So the two that I have for you today, which is the one that I'm drinking right now and then another one, are the Shadow, which is represented by a bat. And this one has holy basil, black tea, milky oats, cinnamon, licorice root, ashwagandha, I think is how you say that, and ginger. And this is the one I'm drinking because it has a lot of good things for if you're sick. I actually have another one of their teas that is the one for when you're sick, but I'm out of that one. And then the other one has this cute little spider on it, just a fuzzy little guy. Just super fuzzy little adorable spider. And this one is called the Magician, and this one has black tea, lemon verbena, orange peel, linden flower, hops, and bergamot. So the bergamot kind of makes it a little bit like an Earl Grey, but it is much more herbal. Pretty much all their teas have really strong herbal elements, even if it is like a black tea, which I really love. And another thing that I really like about their product is that all of their ingredients are sourced responsibly, grown sustainably, and they even forage some of their ingredients, which is amazing. And the last thing is that they originally come in this sort of, oh God, that was a horrible noise, I'm sorry. In this like paper container, but it is reusable and you can get refills. So you don't have to buy a new one of these every time. You can just buy the tea refill for it and refill that up, which I love because you're not using as much packaging every time. So that's gonna be my recommendation for tea. These are super, super delicious and I really recommend checking them out. And they have all sorts of different types, like flavors, like whatever your vibe is tea wise. They have all herbal teas, they have ones with black tea, so please go check them out and support them if you are interested in trying a new tea. Second thing in the food drink category is this. This is a protein drink and it's a powder obviously that you mix up, you know, like any protein powder, but this is a boba flavored one, which the whole line, the company is like boba tea protein powder. So I have a couple different flavors. There's like a traditional milk tea, there's a matcha, all sorts of different ones. I think they have a taro one. But this one, as you'll notice, is pumpkin spice baby. So this is a good way to get your protein if that's the thing you need. I always need more protein than I'm consuming, but also you got that pumpkin spice flavor all year round. So you're in May, you're really missing fall, pumpkin spice. And I didn't double check before I recorded this, but when I bought this, it was on sale because it's not pumpkin spice season. So I think this is still on the website and hopefully it will be on sale. These are pretty expensive, but I don't go through it super quickly because I don't use it every day. I just use it when I need a little bit extra protein, a little bit of a pick-me-up. One thing to note is that it does have caffeine in it, so make sure you're paying attention to how much caffeine the different flavors have if you get any of the ones from this company, because some of them have quite a bit of caffeine because it is tea, like there's real tea in it, which you know I love that. So yeah, if you're into that. And this is a small business. None of this stuff is sponsored, as always, but I just really, really enjoy this. So I wanted to recommend it to you. And then the third thing in the food and beverage category, which I don't know if this really counts as a food on its own, but you know, it's the spice. No, not that spice. This spice. I know Dune 2 just came out and it is not related to that. It is pumpkin spice, just pumpkin spice on its own. You can put this in anything. If you are really yearning for a hit of fall and Halloween, just put pumpkin spice in something. Put it in your coffee, make some scones, put it in that. You can make pumpkin bread, like literally anything that you could put cinnamon or any other spice in, you could put pumpkin spice in. So you can just pumpkin spice up your life, as I like to say. I know that seems like a silly recommendation, but I feel like when we get into other parts of the year, you don't think about it. You don't think about pumpkin spice, you know? It's not pumpkin spice season, so you're not reaching for that on your spice rack, but you can. You can use pumpkin spice anytime. So I highly recommend, if you need a little fall hit, just make something with pumpkin spice. And regarding the Dune thing, just fun fact about me, my name is Aaliyah and it actually comes from the book Dune. That's where my parents got the name. So I probably should try to read that again. I read it in 7th grade and I quit halfway through and then I have not read the whole book. So whoops. Put that on my TBR for some time. Okay, so that's everything in the food and drink category. Up next is candles, one of my favorite things. I have many candle brands that I could recommend, but I'm going to stick with 2 for this video. So the first one is one of my new favorite makers, Amber and Oak. And I have 3 candles from them here, and actually one of them's burning right over here. And this was actually, all of these 3 were from their Valentine's Day collection, but I really feel like they all kind of have a spooky vibe. Partly you can tell because of the names, but partly also I'll tell you the scent notes. This one is called Eternal Lovers. As you can see, like that gives off vampire vibes for sure. The notes are pressed violets, leather spines, rain-soaked earth, tales of otherworldly devotion. It smells, honestly, like the rain-soaked earth note is so spot on. It smells like dirt, in the best possible way. Like, so good. Dirt and floral and dark and earthy. That one's so good. I haven't burned that one yet. But I've kind of been saving them for this time of year because I feel like they feel a little spooky, but they also have a little bit of floral in it. You know, some other elements that are good for the sort of spring, halfway to Halloween time. This one over here is called Dark Romance. It has spice plum, amber resin, covert woodlands, a bewitching love affair. So once again, just a very dark vibe, but has some things in there like the plum and everything that kind of make it not full fall Halloween, but definitely have that spooky sense to it. And then the last one is called Slow Burn. And this one is caramelized vanilla, tobacco leaf, vintage vinyl, the delicate art of falling. And I think the strong note here is vintage vinyl. It almost has that kind of leathery note that you get when you have candles that have like a leather scent. It has a similar feeling to that, which I like, and kind of makes it feel dark and mysterious. I feel like a lot of candles that I have that are like Sleepy Hollow Headless Horseman candles have that same kind of scent note. But I really love all three of these, and I think they're great for halfway to Halloween because they're not full Halloween, but they are making you feel a certain way. And I did check the website, and I think one of them is still available, and then one of them is available in wax melts still. A couple of them are sold out, but I would just recommend following her because all her candles are amazing. And especially, I assume once we get into fall, she'll have a lot more probably of those sorts of scents. The next candle place I'm going to recommend is called Odin's Daughter. If you've been following me for a while, then you probably know about this. I usually open their sort of Halloween mystery box every year. And so I have a couple candles from them. This is more like if you want full Halloween. They also have a lot of witchy themed, actually kind of their whole vibe is witchy. So if you want less overt Halloween and more kind of a witchy vibe, they have that covered as well. But I picked them for this because these are like Halloween candles. So like the amber and oak candles are like if you don't want full Halloween, but you want kind of a mysterious, spooky vibe. These are full Halloween. So the first one that I have is called Jack-o'-lantern. And these are really cute. They have a wood wick. They have different colored waxes in them, which is really fun. And this says ward off evil spirits on here. And the scent notes are toasted pumpkin, red rum, cinnamon. I mean, this is a pumpkin candle for sure. It smells amazing. Oh man, just the fall and Halloween serotonin rush that I get when I smell this is just off the charts. But I love that one. And then the other one of theirs that I picked for this video is called Monster Mash. And this one just smells like a candy bar. It just smells like chocolate and it's so delicious. It kind of smells like chocolate with peanuts. It's a green wax inside, and the scent notes are chocolate, roasted nuts, and cream. So highly recommend going to check them out. All their stuff is great. They do a lot of seasonal stuff, so I don't know if they have the Halloween ones now, but they always have something that has a little bit of a spooky vibe to it. So I will put all the websites down below. Since we are on scents, I'm gonna go to perfumes next. The first one that I'm going to share with you is another local to me, to Oregon small business that I love, and I buy stuff from them all the time. And they do perfumes and also like beauty care stuff, face oils and things like that. So I have actually 4 perfumes from them. The shop is called Blood Moon Botanica. I like to buy these little sample sizes from them so I can try all their different ones. But I wanted to show you just some of the ones I have from them. I actually don't have all the scent notes for these, which I know is not helpful, but you can go to their website and check out what scents they have available. They also do seasonal releases, so you might not be able to get these like right now, but definitely follow them for whatever scents are coming out because all their scents are great. So the first one I have is called Samhain Night, and this one is like very earthy. Oh. Just put it on my nose. Very earthy, I would say. Like walking in a graveyard on a foggy night is what this one smells like. This one is just called Witch, and I don't know how to describe this one. It's kind of a little earthy, a little sweet, but dark, not like super overly sweet, and just got some spices in there. This is like one of my favorite ones. I love that one. And then these two aren't Halloween or fall specific really, but I love these scents so much I just wanted to recommend them. So this one is called Sign of the Lilac. The labels are all crinkly because I have them in my bathroom and they get all steamy, but lilac is one of my favorite scents. Like, it is my favorite flower. It's one of my favorite scents. This lilac perfume is amazing. Highly recommend if you like lilac flavored things or lilac scented things. And then this one is called Ponderosa. I don't know why I'm even holding it up. You can't really see, but this one's called Ponderosa. If you grew up in Central Oregon or anywhere that has ponderosa pines, you will probably know that if you go stick your nose right up in the bark of a ponderosa, it has a very distinct smell, and it is like woodsy but also vanilla. I feel like is the best way to describe it. Like, it smells like a tree, but it also smells like vanilla basically. And I honestly don't know how they did it, but they captured that scent exactly in this perfume. Like, spot on. I cannot relate to you how good this perfume is. If you like that smell, and it is a very specific smell, it's amazing. I'm so impressed at how accurate this is. So definitely recommend picking this one up. They might have this one on the website right now still. Okay, and then the third perfume I have for you is from Catbird. And this one I have had forever, but I had it in a solid perfume, you know, like a little tin, and I tend to not use those as much, so I've had it for a really long time. And then recently, I think last year, I discovered that they put it out in a spray, and I was like, hallelujah, because I will use that all the time. This one, oh, it's so amazing. So it's called Tarot Deck, and actually I'm gonna look up the scent notes for this one because I will not be able to do a good job of explaining it. Okay, well, another fail, because apparently it is not on their website right now. I'm not sure why, because I feel like it's a regular scent that they have. Maybe it's just out of stock or something. I do feel like they will bring it back into stock because, like I said, I've had that other one for ages, and then I just bought this one last year. So I can only imagine that this will probably be back in stock at some point, but I would also recommend checking out their other scents because they're probably good if they're as good as this one. They do have the Tarot Deck in a candle. So if you really want the scent and you want to check it out, you could always buy the candle. And they do have a travel tin size as well. So the notes on this one are incense, Turkish rose, and pencil shavings. So you can see why I wanted to look that up, because I was never gonna be like, yeah, it has pencil shavings. I'm totally getting that scent note. Not because it isn't in there, but because that's just not something I would think to describe it as. But it smells so good. It smells like a tarot parlor with incense going and just very sort of magical and mysterious, which I really love. And I think it's also pretty good as an all year round scent because it isn't overtly Halloween, but it's definitely very witchy and spooky. So highly recommend checking their stuff out. I'm saying highly recommend a lot. I would say go look at their website if that sounds interesting to you, because it will either come back into stock or you can try the candle. Okay, so that's all the perfumes. We are going to move on to books. Yay, another one of my favorite categories, books and book accessories, which you'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, so first for books. My first recommendation, and this is another category where I could just go for days, so I'm only going to recommend a couple of things. My first recommendation in terms of fiction, novels, and that sort of thing is anything by Rachel Harrison. If you have watched my channel, you know that I love this author. She's my favorite horror author. Mr. Cat wants to be up here. Buddy, I'm filming right now. She's my favorite horror author. I have 3 books from her right here: Cackle, Such Sharp Teeth, and Black Sheep, and they're all amazing. Cackle is my favorite, and I love her writing, but also she does sort of horror tropes, but twisted kind of on their head, and usually with a female focus. And really, you can't go wrong with any of her books. But if you want to start with one that you think will be the most your favorite sort of horror trope, Cackle is witches, obviously. Such Sharp Teeth literally says a werewolf novel on the cover. And then Black Sheep, I don't really want to tell you what the trope is too much because I feel like it will give a lot away. Vaguely, the trope is religion, but not in the way you think. I don't know, just read it. It's really good. So I'm not gonna go too much into those. Just trust me. If you want something with spooky vibes, but not overtly Halloween, these are perfect for that. I think Such Sharp Teeth maybe does have a scene that takes place on Halloween in it, but for the most part, these aren't Halloween focused. They just are based on traditional horror tropes. My next book recommendation is little aesthetic books. And if you don't know what I mean by that, it's these. You probably see them at the bookstore. You go in, your eye is caught by a cute little book. It has a cute little cover and it has a cute little theme. And maybe you're not a sucker for these, but I am 100% a sucker for these. And I think it's a good way to have a fun little aesthetic moment, a fun little read, halfway to Halloween, something a little spooky or a little witchy. I don't know. And they're sort of like nonfiction, you know, ideas you can do to do this thing or that kind of thing. So I'm going to show you the 3 that I have. The first one is Goblin Mode. How to get cozy, embrace imperfection, and thrive in the muck. So it's just super cute and it just has like tips on how to go goblin mode, you know what I mean? And cute little illustrations, and they always have the prettiest covers, these little books, which is why I'm a sucker for them. I'm just like, ooh, I have to have this one. It says goblin mode and it's cute. I'm just an easy mark. The next one I have is Herbal Tea Magic for the Modern Witch. And you know I love tea, so I definitely could not buy this one. And this one is great because it has a lot of information about individual tea ingredients if you want to get into that, how to make different teas. Then it also has like reading your fortune in tea, just really anything that you might want to know about tea and witchy stuff. And then the third one I have here is the House Witch. I feel like there's a lot of these that have witch vibes. I also have one that's cottagecore, which doesn't really work for this video, but it's also very adorable. And if you like cottagecore, then you could check that out. This one is your complete guide to creating a magical space with rituals and spells for hearth and home. So, and this one is so gorgeous. I love the cover of this one. And it basically is just what it says. So I'm not gonna go through it, but I think these are a perfect way to have a little halfway to Halloween moment. Embrace your inner witchy self or your inner goblin-y self. And they have these kinds of little aesthetic books for all sorts of themes. So if witchy things aren't your thing, there's probably one out there for you. Just, you know, look into it. And then third in the book category is a book accessory, and that is book sleeves. If you don't use book sleeves, what are you doing? No, I'm just kidding. You don't need to if you don't want to, but they're really fun. They're a fun way to add a little bit more of an aesthetic moment to your books if the cover of your book isn't your vibe or whatever. And they also are just a great way to protect your books. I really like to use them if I'm taking a book, you know, in my bag when I fly somewhere, or if I'm going out to lunch and I want to read it. Just anytime I'm carrying a book around in my bag, basically, I put one of these in there. And it just protects the book. It protects it from getting bent. It protects the cover from bumping up against other stuff. And they are just really, really cool. So I have book sleeves from 2 different small businesses. The first one is kind of witchy themed fabric. And it's this really cute black cat witchy fabric, which black cats and witchy stuff, I had to buy this one for sure. It also has this adorable little toad on it there. And then the second one is a little more subtle, but also kind of witchy. It just has spider webs and sort of autumn color plants, I guess. So, and you can get them in different sizes. As you can see, these are 2 different sizes. Please ignore how much cat hair is on this. These ones are both from Maple Leaf Stitching, and I will link these shops down below. And then the other 3 are more of a horror and actual Halloween theme versus witchy. And these ones are all from Always September. The first one is this classic orange and black, once again with black cats, and then it also has cute little jack-o'-lanterns and skulls on it. And then the next one is, actually I think I'm gonna save this one for Summerween. But the next one is this horror movie poster one, which I really, really love this one. It has Friday the 13th, The Lost Boys, Annabelle, It, The Exorcist, just an assortment of Halloween scary movies, horror movies. So these are great for your books. I really, like I said, I like to theme them to the season or also to what type of book I'm reading. So if I'm reading a horror book, I'll put it in one of these. I have a bunch of these, so these are just a few, but these ones are the most sort of Halloween themed. So that is all for the books category. Last but not, oh no, we have 2 more categories. Oh dear. Okay, next we have clothes and clothes and accessories. I'm gonna keep it tight for this category because there's a million places you can get cute Halloween clothes and accessories, but you've probably seen this before in my videos. I had to share this. I had to put it in here. It's my toad purse. It is one of my favorite things. I bought this from a maker on Instagram. Okay, it's called Haunted Cottage Creations. I will post the link to their Instagram down below. They don't have a shop you can buy these from, but I just DM'd them and was like, hey, can I get one of those toad purses? And they were like, yeah. So I don't know if they're still doing them, but you could DM them and ask. But there's also a bunch of other places you can find these if you just look up toad purse. Like, there's lots of people that make them, but I really love this one. I chose the sort of traditional realistic toad colors. They do come in other colors. And then I really love the fabric that they chose to put on the inside. It has little mushrooms on it, which is very cottagecore witchy vibe there. So that's my #1 recommendation. Get yourself a toad purse. I always get so many compliments on this when I take it places. People are just like, what is that? It's amazing. So yeah, that's the first one. And then my second recommendation is go to TJ Maxx, Ross, those kinds of stores, and look in the t-shirt section. Generally, I find more in like the men's section than the women's section, but you can look in both. They have horror t-shirts all year round. I don't know why, but every single time I go to my TJ Maxx or Ross, if I look in especially the men's t-shirt section, I find at least one horror themed t-shirt. So I just have a few here that I bought in the past. They've been on previous videos, so I won't go super into them. Scream. This one's another Scream one. And then this one, obviously, Michael Myers there. But recently, like as recently as last week, I was at Ross and they had 3 different Chucky shirts. And what was the other thing? There was another one, another horror property that I can't remember now, but they had 3 different Chucky shirts and another separate horror property. Over the course of just shopping at those stores, I've seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I've seen Goosebumps, just like you name it, horror property, and I have seen it. And this is all year round. We're not talking like, oh, it has to be in October, whatever. No, this is every single time I go to TJ Maxx or Ross and look in the section, I find at least one. So that's gonna be my recommendation for clothes. If you want to get in the horror mood, but in May and halfway to Halloween time, just go to TJ Maxx or Ross or, you know, any of that style of store and look, because I don't know if I just have really good luck, but I'm telling you, without fail, there is something there every time that is horror themed. So it's a great way to get a cute horror Halloween themed t-shirt in the middle of spring or summer. It's also a fun hunt, like getting to look through all the shirts and then coming across a really cool horror themed one. I love that. So that's gonna be it for the clothing and accessories recommendations. And then last but not least, we have media. I'm kind of lumping all of this together. It's going to include TV shows, video games, and podcast. I'm not really doing movies because honestly, I haven't watched a lot of new movies that would fit in this category lately. And I feel like probably most of the ones that are good have been in a million other recommendation videos, but I am gonna do some TV shows, video games, and then one podcast, my favorite podcast. So we'll start with TV shows. Obviously I don't have anything to hold up for this, but the first TV show recommendation is actually not one that I have seen yet, but my husband watched it, is in the process of watching it, and he said that he thinks that I'd really like it. And he knows my taste really well, so I believe him. It's called Evil. It's on Paramount Plus. I'll put up some sort of little screenshot of it here. And the way he described it to me is X-Files, kind of like 2 leads. One is like a believer and one is a skeptic, or like science, you know, minded. But instead of aliens, the theme is like religious stuff, like demons and possession and those kinds of things. And there's also kind of sexual chemistry between the 2 characters, like in X-Files, which honestly, say no more. If you say it's like X-Files, like that's all I need to know. But also religion-related horror, love it. I love me a good demon situation. So I'm super excited to watch that, and I'm recommending it to you now because even though I haven't watched it, I'm confident that I will like it. If he says he thinks that I'll like it, I'll like it. The reason that I'm recommending it, even though I haven't watched it, is because I haven't heard anyone else talk about this show. You know, when you see recommendations for horror, Halloween, TV, movie stuff, you tend to get the same recommendations, which is great because those movies and TV shows are amazing. But I tried to find some stuff that maybe not just everyone has seen or heard of already. So I had never heard of this show. I've never heard anyone talk about it. So therefore, hopefully it's a new recommendation to some of you. Let me know in the comments if you have seen that show or heard of it. If you have seen it, do you like it? I'm excited to try it out. And then my second TV recommendation is going to be a show called, hold on, what is it called? It's called We Bought a Funeral Home. It's on HBO Max. I assume. It used to be on Discovery Plus, which is where I watched it, so I assume it's on Max now. It's literally what it sounds like. It's a reality show about a family that buys a funeral home and renovates it into their own home to live in. I think it takes place in Canada, I want to say, but the family is really quirky and likable. I feel like with those kinds of shows, it's kind of touch and go whether the people are going to be annoying or not, but I really enjoyed the family. I thought they were quirky but without being annoying, and you really grow to love them. And yeah, it's a cool old funeral home that they buy and renovate. So if you're into home renovation, if you're into cool old architecture, if you're into spooky decor, this show is for you. Like, it's amazing. I think there's only one season. I feel like at the end they kind of set it up like there could be a second season, but I don't think a second season has come out, so I feel like that's probably a bad sign. But the first season is great. Highly recommend it. Go check it out. Video games. I feel like this video is so long, so I'm gonna go through these quickly. Video games. Number one video game recommendation, Witchwood. I'll put up a little image here. Super cute video game with a really cool, unique art style. You're this sort of, not really a witch, you're kind of like this funny character that is sort of cursed or something. You're not really sure. You don't really remember things very well, but the whole game is basically you sort of finding out what happened to you, but also you're carrying out tasks for people. So it's basically like a resource collecting game where you go talk to someone, they're like, oh, I need 8 hay and 3 toad tongues or whatever to make this thing happen. And you sort of go around and collect all these different things, but it definitely has a lot of witchy vibes to it. You know, make things in your little cauldron, and there's some areas that are very autumnal feeling. I had so much fun playing. This game is the game that got me into cozy gaming, basically, which now I have a Twitch channel where I play cozy games. If you want to check that out, it's at Trusty Parasol. But this is the game that got me into cozy gaming. It's super cozy, super spooky. I mean, not super spooky, but it just has an aura about it of like, I don't know how to explain it. Just go play it. If you like video games and you like sort of the cozy type of video games, go play it. Second video game recommendation is Vampire Survivors. This game is a, I guess you would call bullet hell game. Like basically stuff is coming at you constantly and you're a little character. You're just moving around, picking up different items, upgrading your items, and the stuff is just shooting. I don't, like, I'm never good at describing these things. If I can pull little clips of the video games to post while I'm talking, I will, so you can see it. Stuff is like shooting out from you based on like the power-ups and weapons and things that you get. And you're basically just trying to stay alive. Like that's the whole game, but it's a really fun retro art style, and it is what it sounds like, which it is spooky based. So everything that's coming at you is like bats and skeletons, and there are no vampires. That is kind of the joke, but everything else like zombies and Medusas and just all sorts of crazy stuff. And it is super addicting and super fun. Go check it out. And then the last video game that I'm gonna recommend is not out yet. So I have not played this, but I really wanted to recommend it because honestly, I'm excited about it and I feel like maybe some people might not know about it. So there is a new video game coming out, I believe this year. It's called Foolish Mortals. And if you're a fan of Disneyland, then you will recognize that that is from the Haunted Mansion ride from Disneyland, which is my favorite ride at Disneyland. So I was super excited for this game. It is definitely that feeling, that vibe to it. If you go and you look at some of the stuff about it, it's a point and click adventure game. Yeah. I mean, if anything is Haunted Mansion related, I'm gonna consume it. So say no more. Say less. as the kids say. So yeah, that's all the video games. And then just to close it out, I have one more thing to recommend to you, and that is a podcast, and it is called Gorley and Rust. And it's these two guys that like horror movies, and they just watch movies and then talk about them, but they're really funny, really enjoyable to listen to, really smart. They start with watching all of the Friday the 13th movies, then all of the Halloween movies, and at this, they started this like years ago, so at this point they've watched so many franchises, so many different horror movies. To listen to the older episodes, you do have to subscribe to their Patreon, but I think it's like $5 a month and you get all the back episodes or something. It's 100% worth it because this podcast is great. If you like horror movies, honestly, even if you don't like them that much, I feel like they are so entertaining that it wouldn't really matter if you hadn't seen the movie, but I think it's probably better if you've seen the movie. So if you like horror movies, especially like the classic franchises like Halloween and Friday the 13th and all of those, highly, like, just go check out this podcast. It's so good. It's just so good and funny, and I laugh a lot. Whatever their sense of humor is, just, it hits me right in the funny bone. So that is my last recommendation for Halfway to Halloween. I hope there were some things on this list that were new to you. I hope there were some things that you are gonna go check out, that you're excited to check out. Please let me know in the comments which things you think you might check out, like what were your favorite recommendations, and also if you've tried any of these things, if you would recommend them or if they weren't your favorite, let me know that as well. If you want to follow me on Instagram, my handle is @housebeyondthehedge. Like I mentioned earlier, if you want to follow me on Twitch and come play cozy games with me, it's @TrustyParasol over on Twitch. And yeah, I'm sorry this video is so long, but when I get going recommending stuff, watch out, because I like a lot of stuff. So I hope you enjoyed, and always remember to keep the kettle warm because I will see you next time.